Hi everyone, thank you for opening this video. How happy are you today? I would like to think of happiness as, a cup, a meter. Like, are you full? Do you have your quota being filled of happiness? You could also measure everything else like that, right? Your self love, your self care. We find it natural, of course, to think, right? If you're hungry, you eat. If you're thirsty, you drink. But what about emotions? What about feelings, right? What about your sense of well being? What about your sense of security and happiness, right? So, hope those are being filled. And I just realized that happiness can also be a force field because, so just last week, I had an experience where somebody suddenly, out of nowhere, suddenly blurted, a lot of things that were uh, off with me, according to that person. But for me, it's like, oh, it's not true. But the interesting thing was whether or not what that person was saying was true, I had a logical, natural reason to be offended, right? Imagine, yeah, if something, if you've been accused of something that's not true, of course you'll be angry. But if you're accused of something that is true, you can also be angry because, oh no, I've been found out, I've been discovered, all that. Well, my point here is, yeah, that's another topic for another day, the righteous anger and all that. But my point here is, I had enough reason to be triggered, offended, angry, because it was a major misunderstanding on the other person's part. But for me, I thought there was no problem, but this other person thought very differently. So we had a misunderstanding, which can be resolved, right? If we are willing to listen to the other side. But anyway, I just realized that I can choose to be offended. I can choose to have a good day or a bad day, right? I can choose to let it affect me or not. But also, there wasn't even a choice in that situation. And that's why I'm talking about happiness as a force field. Because I was so happy that particular moment, that even though this bad thing happened, I was still okay. Right? I did not even have a dilemma like, oh, I should hold on to the good things or think positive thoughts, think positive. Yeah. Yeah. That could work, of course, if you need that. But at that moment, I didn't have to, invoke the power of happiness. I didn't have to ask help because I was already fine. So wow. So I'm very thankful for that. So when there are bad things that are happening, you know, it's natural for us to feel bad because it's bad, right? It's natural, right? If something bad happens, we feel bad. Okay, that's expected and that's natural. But the great thing is, it is possible to still feel good even though bad things are happening. And that's why I'm saying, yeah, happiness can be a force field. Or you could think about your happiness meter that it's off the charts. It's over 100%. Or your happiness cup overflows such that if something bad happens, you have more than enough anyway. You can still feel the happiness. You can still do good to those who harm you. So, you possibly have heard of the golden rule: do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So, that's basic courtesy, that's basic respect, right? You don't need to list everything as a law or as a constitution, it could easily be summarized as, you know, if you don't want that to be done to you, in other words, if you think that is bad, then don't do it, right? And the assumption there is more or less, we all have the same moral code. We all have similar definitions of right and wrong. So we just go general, and you have an idea what is good and what is bad. Then don't do bad, just do good. It's great. But when you have a happiness meter that is over 100%, if you're over quota, if you're abundant, if you are having a cup that overflows, then you could afford to do good to those who harm you. You could afford to love those who do not deserve love. You can love your enemies even. So that's amazing. Have enough love, have enough happiness, have enough well being. And how do we do that? Love ourselves first. I'm not saying love ourselves only, but love ourselves first. Because that way we will not get burned out, right? It's great. If you have the metaphor of a candle, right? If you have one candle and then you light others, great. Your candle is still burning, right? You just spread the light around, you spread the love around. But if your own candle is off, it's not turned on, how can you help others? Or if you're only helping others, yeah, yeah, there's nothing left for you, then you cannot continue helping others. Also, the analogy of in the airplane, that's what made it all. That's what opened my eyes actually. That when in case of emergency, you need and you have a child with you or someone who needs your help. If you are a carer and if there's an emergency, put on your oxygen mask first or wear your seatbelt first before taking care of others. Because if you lack oxygen or if you are dislodged from your seat because you didn't wear your seatbelt, how else can you help others? It is not selfish, it is actually wise to do that. And the implication is you're not just helping yourself, you can also help others. But you can do that when you're okay. If you need that love, if you need more happiness, then ask it from others. Ask it from God, ask it from the universe, ask it from the people around you. You know, fill up that quota first. And then you will be so abundant, then you can do good to those who harm you. You can love those who treat you like an enemy. Yeah, and you'll be protected from all bad vibes. Happiness as a force field. Yeah, so try it. Have a great day, everyone. Be happy.